Hello everybody. Today on Ideology Explained I will go over an actual ideology and not just an economic system. I will tell you about Marxism. To sum it up shortly, you could say Marxism is the school of thought started by Karl Marx. I don't like that answer because it's quite obvious and it doesn't actually tell us what Marxism is. So, what's Marxism? Simply put, it's a mostly scientific way to criticize capitalism. I often see people confuse or conflate it with socialism or communism. Cough, Jordan Peterson, cough. But those are actually very different things. Please remember this. Marxism tells you what's wrong with capitalism, but doesn't tell you how to fix it. Communism is a utopia in which the problems of capitalism don't exist anymore, and socialism is the attempt to get as close to that as possible. Let's now get back to Marxism. How does it criticize capitalism? Well, there are many things to choose from. Marx famously spent his whole life refining his theories while I just have a few minutes. Let me start by saying that Marxism is part of dialectics. This means that Marxists look at society in terms of contradictions. This means they have a look at our society and try to determine if there is a useful distinction to be made in the people. And they found these contradictions in multiple places. For example, property values. Landlords like them high and tenants like them low. Or pay. Employees like it high, employers like it low. So Marxists look at these opposing desires and classify people accordingly. Those who own a factory or land against those who don't. Generally, you could say that society consists of people who make money by owning and people who make money by working. Those who have the money, or capital, to afford to let others work for them are called capitalists. And the other people are called workers. And in our current society, those two groups are always fighting for dominance, and depending on who is winning, the conditions change. For example, the workers would increase the minimum wage, while the capitalists would reduce it. This is called the class struggle, or class warfare. And if we look at this, we can see that the capitalists need employees to work their factories, while the employees do not need the capitalists to be able to work. This is why Marx thought that the only way this could be resolved would be an overthrow of the capitalist class. I will now name a few more problems of capitalism according to Marxism. Alienation. Capitalism puts people into assembly line jobs, which prevents them from being proud of what they've created, or even to be able to recognize something as a product of their labor. Another problem, capital accumulates. I could explain this, but really if you've ever played Monopoly, you know how the free market ends up. This is also why the poor have been getting poorer and the rich have been getting richer for decades. And here I would explain the labor theory of value, but I've already done that in 2 other videos, so just click the link in the top right corner and ignore the bad audio. It was one of my first videos. TLDR, employers always steal from employees. There are many more points and I've made a video on why capitalism is bad as well, so you can just watch that one instead. Before the end, let's have a look at the way Marxism looks at history. Basically, remember that class struggle? Marx thought that all of history is a class struggle. This means that all significant historical developments were influenced or caused by a class struggle. Keep in mind that in the past the classes were different. An example, the rich private capitalists in France were unhappy with their king, so they abolished feudalism and replaced it with capitalism. That was the French Revolution. Alternatively, the private landowners of the 13 colonies weren't happy with the feudal king above them issuing taxes and telling them what to do. So they declared independence and enshrined capitalism in their constitution. That was the American War of Independence. If you want to see how fascism is interpreted by Marxism, watch my video on Fascism is Capitalism in Decay. And if you want to see how Marxists would explain the B-movie, I also have a video on that. There is also the theory that people's behavior is caused by the material conditions. This means Marx didn't think that rich people are evil for being rich, but that being rich in capitalism puts you in positions in which you have to be evil, like cutting down the rainforest for profit. And that's about it. Thanks for watching. See ya. Thank you to everyone who subscribed since the last video. Please check out my subreddit and Twitter. Also, thank you to all of my patrons and a special thanks to Aaron J. Patton for your generous donation.